Hello, I'm your friend Haley Crusher Kane, and this is Crusher Talk. I've just returned from a four day run with Screeching Weasel and the Queers, and I am surprising myself even that I'm able to get on here and chat with you because, as you can probably hear, my voice is pretty froggy. And I even was texting with tour manager Des today saying I woke up and decided I would be doing no recreational talking. I had one work call I had to do, and I said, I'm doing the work call and then no recreational talking. Just put me on mute. I'm on mute. Because she was saying that she's also completely lost her voice, which is tells you a lot because she wasn't singing or on stage. Just the amount of commotion and the crowds and all the things you have to do to keep a tour running. It's really no wonder that she has lost her voice as well. Um, we got back last night. We took our honorary Crusher drummer Ruben back to the airport this morning, and Gidget is recovering from many days in the van. She did a great job, but she's got, a lot of naps ahead of her to recharge after this run, which was quite an adventure. Um, Starting off, I did not notice the tour poster had me on it until much later because ADHD or because I don't know, I'm not observant. But I thought that was pretty funny. There's a redheaded uh, female on the poster that I guess it's my debut on a tour poster. Shout out to Hooter Hicks on Instagram, who is making these really awesome posters. And all of the posters on this run, because the Weasel has them printed out really nice, beautiful, beautiful posters. Those all sold. Actually, all of their merch sold on this run, to the point where the last final date, there was basically like a couple t-shirts and a couple stickers left for Weasel. And as a result, a lot of people came and spent their money over at our over at our merch table. But it was cool to see those posters flying and to sign a few of them, although I was like, I don't even want to sign them. They're so beautiful. They're just gorgeous colors. Um, I'll take a picture and post that because I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know if who's seen it, who hasn't seen it, who is just following along with Crusher Talk, independent of our social media, and who is tuning in that knows all the things that are going on. So I try to keep these, somewhat inside baseball to be interesting, but also general enough to where you don't have to, be some mega fan of our band, of the Crushers, to listen along. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about this tour. So, I have mentioned in the past that, we needed to hire on a drummer for this one because we lost our beloved drummer Gabe, with the perfect teeth and the perfect attitude. Really, God, Gabe was and just a great drummer. We lost him to normal life. He just was done with all of the hurry up and wait of these tours and the travel, and really can't blame him for that because it is a lot that you put into going out on a run like this. And if you have a regular job and a regular life and you're trying to squeeze everything in, it's really it's hard. Luckily, I'm somebody who can work remotely, and I was able to get all of my deadlines done before I left. But to have a normal corporate job and to also be touring must be a special kind of hell. I didn't even bring my laptop. That's pretty nice. Anyways, Gabe, flew the coop not too long ago after the last run, and so we scrambled to find a new drummer. We auditioned a bunch of people, and the drummer that we chose, who I'll be speaking about on today's Crusher Talk because we've finally announced her, Stacy. Yes, Stacy, our new drummer. But because we hadn't quite had enough time to get this new person up to speed, and Dr. Kane and I were on the West Coast visiting family for a lot of the winter, we just decided, like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this Weasel run and we don't have a dedicated drummer. We need to hire somebody who's a pro, get him in there, and that's where Ruben Patino came in, who is the drummer for SAC. He's also played with Teenage Bottle Rocket and his former band Reno Divorce, among others. Oh, Bracheros, which is like his main baby. Bracheros, great band out of Colorado, Denver. Um, so he came in and we had like one practice, like one day of practicing, and then just hit the road and drove 10 hours to get to our first stop, Norwalk, Connecticut. And I gotta say, he killed it. He did a great job. He just powered through, and I told him, the best compliment that I could probably give you is that I didn't think about you at all during the performance. And it's because he was just in the music, locked in with the bass, and I didn't have to think about where he was going because he was just right on time. And he did a great job all four shows without a ton of live practice. And he'd actually never practiced with our lead guitarist. We just practiced a little bit on the way out to the West Coast, just as a trio. And so it was all very like, exciting to feel everybody in the same room together and get everybody like finally on stage playing together. And Ruben just did a phenomenal job. With the exception of, and this isn't even his fault, but we did our cover of Lobotomy, Teenage Lobotomy, and some of you may know that Dr. Kane likes to throw a curveball every once in a while just to be, just to be the devil's advocate, or just to be a pain in the ass, depending on how you want to think about it. But he goes into singing Baby Shark, Baby Shark, do, 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 which he does every once in a while. Before I'd come in on the second Lobotomy chant before the second chorus, kind of fucked up everybody. It actually was charming though, because if you're gonna do that on a song, that's a good song to do it on. But that was really the only trip up, and it was really not even his fault. So the fact that he was able to go and just kill it on all of these sets is remarkable and a testament to what a great drummer he is. If you ever want to know if someone's a good drummer, Ruben actually gave me a few tips, and one of those tips is he was talking about the Susanna Shuffle, which is what's the name of the band? I forget the name of the band, but it's a very distinct drum beat that you will know once you click on the link that I will provide. It is a special kind of beat, and it is from the band. What is the band? What is the song? Susanna, Susanna. Yeah, I'm Googling it, and it's just coming up with Susanna Schoffel, who is an artist. I should be more prepared for these things. So it's called the Rosanna Shuffle. The band is okay. The drummer who does it is called Jeff Porcaro, of the band Toto, and we're talking about the 1982 Toto song Rosanna. And what the drummer is doing is a halftime shuffle that is kind of jazzy. And yeah, so I was like, what? This is ridiculous. Is this really a thing? But actually, I can't remember what show it was, but like I caught Ruben talking to one of the sound guys. I think it was our last night in Reading, Pennsylvania, and they were talking about the Susanna Shuffle. So it's a thing. The Susanna Shuffle. If the drummer knows what it is and can execute such a thing, you know that they know their stuff. And you'll know when you listen to that song, you'll hear it, and you'll go, "Oh yeah, like that is a distinct drum beat that requires some skill." So yes, Norwalk was a lot of friendly people, a lot of colorful people stopping by the merch table, to say the least. We met some people, that I only kind of knew from online, and so that was nice. We also ate some really thin crust pizza that was almost like a cracker, but it was really good, which is kind of a local thing. And we had a photographer come up to us who was taking photos with an old Polaroid camera, And then he proceeds to whip out another camera, which is actually literally the camera that they use at a dentist office to take pictures of your teeth. I'm not kidding. And me and Jenny, from the merch booth, our awesome merch person, Jenny, we got real close together so we could get a close-up photo. And we were just like, what did we just get a blast of radiation or something in our bodies? Because it was one of those really bright flashes. It was like, you know what I'm talking about. Last time you went to the dentist, think about it. But anyways, it was just a really colorful cast of people that came to Norwalk. Really a small town feel. Um, great show. Baltimore Baltimore was next, and I was hoping it would be exactly like the movie Hairspray, but I actually cannot verify that, confirm nor deny that, because we did not have enough time to really explore it, sadly. It was really just getting to the venue, playing because of some of the drives on this run. It was just sort of like, let's get to the venue, and also being an opening band, which is a little different than direct support. You want to be on time. If you're not on time as an opening band, I mean, load in is one thing, which we were pretty tardy on load in too, which was disappointing to me. But sound check, we were always on time. Sound check on time, starting on time, not running over your time slot keeps the whole show on the rails, and you're not stealing time from later in the show for these other musicians. That really is why everyone's there. Everybody's there to see Screeching Weasel and the Queers. So we were trying to be careful about not straying too much from the venue once we got there, and making sure that we were just like on the dot, making sure the shows went well. And I think we did a pretty good job of that. So Baltimore, I had a mini breakdown. I don't know why. I just had like a little bit of a kind of freak out, really, but more just like overwhelm, I guess. We were traveling in a new van, our lead guitarist Ryan's van. So that was different. Normally I treat our van a little like a secondary green room where I can kind of escape to. I didn't really have that this time. And it just felt like a lot of moving parts and pieces, and it always kind of feels like that. But I did sit in the van and do my nebulizer for the first time, really, in Baltimore. And I have to say, it had a very good calming effect on me, the nebulizer, whether or not it's working or not. I asked Ben Weasel, does the nebulizer work for you? And he's like, who knows? And I have to say, I also have that feeling. Who knows? But it's not working. It's not doing nothing. It's definitely like adding some moisture to those vocal cords right where they need them. Um, I had a good time in Baltimore. There were some pictures taken of Baltimore, um, which was it was really nice. A nice review as well, which I'll link to. Really, really cool venue, Baltimore Soundstage. The first two shows, I think, were averaging around 700 people. But then Brooklyn was like 1,000 people. And if you're familiar with this Substack, that some of these bigger crowds are really, really new for us and new for me. And I had a bit of anxiety on the first Weasel run way back in March of 2025. With the first date was, I think, around 700 people, and like, it's funny how the goalpost changes, like from 700 to 1,000. Like suddenly 700 didn't seem that bad, right? And it's a couple extra more. And I think what I'm learning from these kind of bigger shows, aside from like, the importance of using the in-ear monitors and taking care of my voice better, I'm also learning that it's really not that different between 700 and 1,000. Obviously 70 is very different than 700, or I'm more used to 70 people. Let's be real. 70 people, no big deal. But 700 to 1,000 is not that big of a deal. And being the opening band on this run, I actually really enjoyed it because it gave me less time to lose things, because I have like my bandana, my in-ears, my set list, I have this like handheld fan that I use now and I throw into the audience. I actually bought fans for this one so I could throw them into the audience on each show, which was really fun. I'd never done that before. Big like iridescent shiny fan. But I have like all these things that I feel like I'm always constantly like losing, not to mention all my guitar picks. Like I came in with probably like less than ideal number of guitar picks, and on the last show, I played with my last guitar pick, which is funny because Joe Queer was saying the whole time, he's like, "Oh my God, like I'm out of picks. Like, what kind of picks do you use?" And we use like the same like thickness gauge pick. And I was like, "Sorry, dude, I can't spare any." Because their van actually pooped out. They had to take a rental van. So I think all his picks were in the other van, and I was just like, not to be a dick, but I can't spare any. And it was funny because when I got off stage in the last show, I gave my last pick, which I had been playing with, to Ron, who is the keyboardist in the Queers now, and I was like, "Here, you can give this to Joe now. I'm done. I don't need it anymore." Um, but yeah, it's just like being an opening band is like get there, do your sound check, get ready, get in your outfit, eat a little food, and then just go play. And I actually liked that. And I actually like the idea of like having to win over an audience. I think that can be really fun to see an audience go from like neutral or like negative even, but usually just neutral. Like they don't give a shit either way what you're doing or who you are. So neutral to like having a good time. So that was really fun, and I actually took it as a challenge and enjoyed that, and allowed me to enjoy the rest of the show. The Screeching Weasel has been playing pretty consistently now for a while, doing really, really big festivals. I think they just got back from Hawaii. They had just gotten back from Hawaii. And so they are solid, just incredibly solid. And the Queers is a band I hadn't seen too much of in the past decade. So that was cool to see them every night and to see, what songs they're going to play, and like, just like seeing the audience's reactions too was interesting. I feel like the Queers have such a devoted following and multi-generational following as well. And so it was cool to see like that combination of overlap of fans of like this, early pop punk thing. These are iconic bands of that genre. So seeing like people just being so happy and excited, and like a lot of people saying like, "Oh, I've seen them 80 times. I've seen them 50 times," because they play constantly. Um, the Queers also don't do a sound check, and so they did not do a sound check. So that actually helped us out quite a bit, that we had extra time to sound check, especially since Ruben was new to the band. Um, uh, Anyways, Brooklyn was great. It was big. Weasel's amps lit on fire or something, or PA or something happened where somebody's gear got lit on fire, which is very Spinal Tap. Oh, also another Spinal Tap moment is on the first show in Connecticut. We got up to play at like 7:30 because these were early shows, a lot of them ending or wrapping around 10 or 11, and so we got up on stage ready to play at 7:30, and there was no sound guy like there was like no sound people, and we're just like, what the fuck? And we look in the audience, and there's like a handful of people in the audience, and we're like, wait a second, what is happening? We're at this beautiful venue with this gorgeous balcony and like red velvet seats and a big crowd, and we're just like, what the hell? And it turned out that we actually weren't supposed to play till 8, but we had a very Spinal Tap moment because we like ran back down into the green room, and we were like, yay, that was a great set, that was so fun. Like it was very like, what in the Spinal Tap is happening? It reminded me of that part in Spinal Tap when they're all trying to find their way to the stage and they can't like figure out where the hell they are. It was very that. But yeah, Brooklyn, another fun thing was there's like a little seated sitting area adjacent to the stage, which I really liked because it was sort of like a loading place for gear, but also there were some couches, you could sit there, so you could actually see the audience, which was rabid and crazy. Like, oh my gosh, it got out of control. A lot of stage diving and stuff. And then you could also like see the stage and see the performances and stuff. And not that there was supposed to be stage diving, there wasn't supposed to be, but there was some stage diving happening, despite the barricade and despite the security. Um, they're very serious looking security too. It's surprising they weren't able to mitigate that very well. But I was sitting on one of those couches watching the Weasel set and just enjoying, just the interplay with the audience, and it was a nice little spot to sit. And I didn't realize that Ben was up like on a riser thing or on a monitor or whatever he was standing on, was like singing, and he like jumps back over me like Free Willy, like over my head, and I was like, oh my god. It was really funny. It was a good moment. Mikey Erg from the band The Ergs was also in that area, and I like turned to him and was like, oh my god, and we shared like a funny, very like one real random moment. It was quite hilarious to me anyways. I wish more people had seen it. I don't know if anybody caught it. Like, we had a photographer there. Um but yeah, we had a Free Willy moment. What else? In New York, we stopped at this really fancy restaurant. Thankfully, our friend Jenny, who did merch for us, has a great pad in Brooklyn we were able to crash at. And she also is so connected, knows all these people. So she's like, oh, my friend owns this restaurant. Let's go there and like have brunch, and like he'll hook us up. And then it turned out that the owner, the chef, Joe, really wanted to go to the Weasel show at the Brooklyn Monarch, but wasn't able to. So at the final show in Reading, we got Joe Queer to do a video for Joe the chef that said, we just wanted him to be like, oh man, like, sucks you couldn't come, or something, just something, because we just wanted to thank him for making such a great meal for us. And it was just like pancakes, French toast, steak and eggs, smoked salmon, pastries. Like, oh my gosh, it was like a feast. But Joe ended up doing a really funny little video. It was like, hey, I hear you make good pancakes, but I'm sure they're not as good as mine. Next time, come to the fucking show. And so we sent that over to Joe. Shout out to Joe. Great restaurant. I will link to the restaurant. My brain is not working. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I will link to all of these things. I highly recommend this restaurant. Everything we had was good, and the cappuccino I had was on par with anything I've had in Europe. It was really, really yummy. And yeah, so that was kind of a fun perk. So thanks to Jenny for that. Jenny also put on the Oh Bondage Up Yours festival at TVI that we played, I think, 2 summers ago. And she's a local DJ in Brooklyn, and local person about town, and a connector, one of those people that connects people to other people, and we appreciate her. Let's see. So Reading, PA was a little bit different vibe. I've never signed so many t-shirts in my life. A lot of t-shirt signing happening in Reading. I don't know what it is about certain cities, but certain cities, they want the t-shirt signed. That was a fun show for sure, but I was definitely tired. We were all tired and very hot, and I felt like I was gonna melt on stage. But we pulled through, and here's a couple funny things happened. So one was, like, while we were playing, like, in general, like, it felt like the lights, it felt like you were at a prom with the lights on. Like, it was very well lit for the first 2 bands, and then they dimmed the lights a bit for Weasel. But I've probably never been at a show that was that well lit. It was like very brightly lit. The second thing was, I have a part in the set where I usually kind of go crazy on guitar, and sometimes I'll roll around on the floor. And Ryan and I were like doing a back-to-back thing leading up to that, like leaning on each other and playing guitar like you do, mugging and stuff. And I go to, like, go down on my knees and kind of roll around on the floor. And I don't know how Ryan didn't expect me to like do this, because I always do that. But he ends up losing his balance, and we both just fall over. Not only did we fall over, but I just stopped playing completely. Like, he kept playing, I guess, but I just stopped playing because I was just like, wait, what? What is happening? And we just laid. I actually we just laid on the floor or on the stage way longer than I normally would. And we like looked at each other and had this moment of like, this is ridiculous. And it was just a really fun moment to just roll with it. And like, oh yeah, I meant to do that. We were saying a lot of playing live music is being like, I meant to do that. I'm meaning to do this. This is exactly what I mean to do. This is how I want to sound. This is how I want to act and look. And it's like, a lot of it is just like rolling with the punches, and not necessarily getting things perfect. So that was fun. And luckily the stage was carpeted. which at first I was like, "That's weird. Why is the stage carpeted?" But it actually worked out really well for us. Um, Pierre, the Weasel's drummer, broke his cymbal, cracked it, and so we all got to sign it at the last show, which was kind of fun. And I got to put a little smooth move X-Lax on it and a little arrow pointing to the crack. And now it's going to be like a collector's item. So that's cool. Maybe one day you'll see it on eBay. Who knows? Um, we survived on these nut balls that my dad makes that are like oats and nuts and um, like goji berries and dried cherries and all that stuff. Imagine like a really nutrient dense little ball of sustenance. And we had a bag of those and we ate one at like every opportunity. We were just eating those. Um, so I thought that was fun to like share that. I meant to share that last time because we've actually been eating, we have like 3 bags of these nut balls and we've been eating them since we left the West Coast. We ate them in Mexico. We ate them on the way out to Detroit. It's like, if you keep them in the freezer, they last a long time. I'll have to put the recipe in here sometime. Excuse me. I don't know if I actually have it on me at the moment, but, and I'm wiped. So we'll see how good these links are going to be. But that really helped out, just having a good snack on the road. Let's see. We've been watching a bit of Sabrina the Teenage Witch at our house, as well as 90210. So we're looking forward to getting back into that. And I'm talking about Sabrina from the 90s, of course, with Melissa Joan Hart. So we're looking forward to like just vegging out and watching some TV tonight and not having to talk or sing or do anything. We also announced our new drummer, Stacy, which it's like way to bury the lead, but there's just a lot going on. And so Stacy is an incredible drummer. She's well versed in everything from jazz to metal to punk. And she's got, most of all, a really great attitude and has even recorded some songs for our new album and has been really great about taking feedback and collaborating and working with Ryan to get those tracked. And she's just a sweetheart, and we're really, really happy to welcome her into the band. I did a little post on Instagram and Facebook, so you can kind of check that out and go follow her. I mean, this is not a mandatory part of the band, but I also love that she's not shy or afraid of the camera, and like she likes to kind of, you know, just be extra. And I think that's going to add something to our stage performance, having another, extra female out there, just being unapologetic. I'm reminded of the Cher quote where she says like that she was a badass bitch back in the day, but like she wishes she had been badder. And I agree, like you should just, whatever you're doing, you should do it 100%. And Stacy's one of those people that does everything 100%. So really, really looking forward to debuting her on March 29th. That's this Sunday at Lager House in Detroit in historic Corktown. And then after that, we'll be taking Stacy on the road for the April dates. I got a sneak peek at that poster, by the way, and it's really cute. I don't think I'm supposed to like share it or anything at this point, but let's just say I make another appearance on this poster. I guess I have to get used to it by now. That's all I have for you today. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your week. And by next Tuesday, I'm sure I'll be a little bit more healed up. Keep an eye out for that new single coming out. I think it's going to be April 14th, and I'm going to tease it here pretty soon once I edit this music video. Pray for me. I'm definitely going to need some help to get my brain cells together enough to splice together this video over the next few days. But yeah, until then, sparkle hard, and we will see you around the block. Bye bye.